Peter, what was it in your research that really said, I got to go write this book, throw them all out? What was the thing that really said, this is so rotten, it stinks to high heaven, I can dedicate a couple of years of my life to do this?
Well, it was that study, and then it was, this haunting question that I think we've all sort of thought about, but never really thought how we could pursue it. This question of, how often is it that these people run for political office or they engage in quote-unquote public service, and, 10 years later, Steve, they're suddenly multimillionaires. It's something you sort of hear about anecdotally, but I really wanted to try to answer that question. And especially
you're saying a guy that comes as a country lawyer who's never made more than $100,000, that has a job that pays $135,000 or $145,000, and he's got to keep 2 locations. How do these guys in 10 years have $10 million in net worth? How does that math work?
That's exactly right. And 2 examples, one Republican, one Democrat. Dennis Hastert, Republican from Illinois, he became Speaker of the House in 1998. His net worth at that time was about $300,000. Less than 10 years later, when he steps down as Speaker of the House, his net worth is around $7 million. He didn't win the lottery, Steve. He didn't have a great aunt that died and left him money. He got it by milking the system. Legally, by the way. That's what's so amazing about this. We're not talking about theft that gets you in jail. We're talking about the kind of behavior that's sanctioned by the ethics committees. The other example is Nancy Pelosi. Over a 20-year period, she comes into Congress. She's worth $3 million. Over a 20-year period.
By the way, she was worth $3 million, including the value of their home in San Francisco. Yes. Now, her husband is supposed to be an investing guru, a genius, but up until he was already in his 50s. Their total net worth was $3 million. What is her net worth today?
It went up 876% over 20 years, which is on average about a 24% return on investment.
Why isn't Nancy Pelosi Secretary of the Treasury? No, seriously. Everybody's talking about the 4% solution. The 4% solution is America's got to get back to a 4% growth rate. Why isn't Nancy Pelosi? Hell with Mitt Romney. We're focused on the wrong guy. I want Princess Nancy. 24% annual compounded returns. You don't think hedge funds? She'd be the king of the hedge fund world.
Yeah, she kicks Mitt Romney's butt, with all these Swiss bank accounts.
Forget that Bain. That Bain stuff's nothing. 24% annual returns. Like, go on, she's the queen. Now listen, you can't just do that through hard, honest labor. The world does not work like that. Correct?
Right. That's exactly right. Her husband, when she first came into Congress, he ran a limousine business. They now invest in all kinds of stock market, in tools and investments. They get gifted a lot of IPOs where they get huge pops. These are IPOs, initial public offerings of stock. They get it one day at $10 a share. They sell it the next day when it goes public for $25 a share. It's those kinds of things that the rest of us don't get access to. Even the Wall Street insiders don't always get access to.
And I mean, by the way, her rise to power is because she knew how to pick the lock out in Silicon Valley and out in what we call the Four Horsemen, these boutique investment banks in San Francisco tied to the technology. I mean, she came from nowhere and became a massive fundraiser, but one hand washes the other. You get kissed into these IPOs, particularly during the Internet years. Next thing you know, you've got $10, $15, $20 million in net worth.
That's right, and your family rises with you. I mean, she has a brother-in-law who is tied in with a firm that got a lot of green energy money from the stimulus. She's got a son, who worked for Countrywide, and then when Angelo Mazzillo was riding high and wanted to have good relations in Congress, this is a way to lift the boat and the wealth of all of your family, because you've got government power and you can do things to or for other people in power, and that's what really gives them this ability to accumulate this wealth.